All right, let me just put my controller somewhere. Well, nice to meet you, man. It is. Thanks for coming. I know you're working a lot in your project, and your project is super big. I want to know more about it. Also, I've been looking at your videos. It's very interesting, like all the views that you have in some certain topics. And since you are like super involved in all of this, in the technical and also in the user side, right? Like I've seen some of your videos, and you are talking about using VR chat and using other apps, and also you like
Right.
SAO, which I also like too. We can talk about it too. Yeah. So yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hand
So
tracking doesn't
why
like me.
the hand tracking? Yeah. Sometimes you
Yeah,
need to
I like steepling my fingers and it doesn't like that.
like this.
Yeah.
Huh? Maybe because your room is a little dark.
Might be. Here, let me flip on I have a switch right here. It's a little
Maybe
bit
it's a
better.
little better. All right. All right.
Anyway,
Well,
sorry to tangent.
don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. So, so this is the set. I just put some things here if you want to play.
Right.
Welcome to the show, Wire. Um, I've seen your YouTube channel. I've seen your project. You have this really huge project that I want to talk about. I think it's huge because I started computer science, and I know that what you're doing is it's a very big project, and it could be like very huge scope. So we can start with that. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, so
You want to talk a
the
little bit
engine.
about your project and what it is, and yeah, I have some questions for after that.
Sure. So, Brain Engine is basically, uh, to condense it down to like one sentence or one paragraph. It's my attempt to make uh, the metaverse or create the metaverse platform that I would want to be in.
Awesome.
Um,
I saw,
and
I saw one of your videos, and I want to go to that point later. One of your videos is about the metaverse that people actually want. I think
right,
metaverse is a word that is being thrown away in a different. It means a lot right now for people. For some people, metaverse is Facebook. For some people, metaverse is Web3. For some people, is none of those. For some people, it's all together. So yeah, let's start with what your project is, right? I think that's a
right.
good start.
Okay. So basically, it's a full framework. So that includes editor. Uh, for the moment, two different types of servers, though I've only really worked on one so far, and then an actual client to enter those worlds. And it's all open source, and the idea is that that anybody would be able to use the editor to create immersive environments that are then streamed from a common client or streamed to a common client. So it's almost like it works in a very similar way to a web browser would, but hopefully
Hmm.
like more geared towards VR.
I think that's kind of like what the metaverse should be, right? Like
Yeah,
just an open window to anything that people build. So,
that's
what would be the difference between this project that you have, this game metaverse engine, and Unity 3D or Unreal, for example?
so kind of the biggest thing is just um, the ease at which once it's completed. Right now, it's a little bit of a hassle to build anything in
Hmm.
it, but
Hmm.
once it's completed, the idea is that anybody would be able to take the engine, easily create like the immersive environment and everything. But then the really big part of it is it has all of or it will have all of the networking required to stream in assets as you play it. So it would
Hmm.
basically have like a built-in, uh, almost like open world sort of thing where it's built into the editor where uh, there's no concept of scenes. Where
Mm-hmm.
most game engines they have like you have this scene, and when you want to change scenes, you got the little loading screen. With my
Yeah.
engine, the idea is that everything is built in like chunks or world
Mm-hmm.
chunks, and they can kind of modularly fit together. So as you walk throughout the world, it um, it can load them in one by one. But with the way that I load in assets, the way that um, the way that things link to each other, like let's say I have my equivalent of like a Unity game object.
Yeah.
It links to all of like the materials and textures it uses through an asset ID that it actually includes the address of the server. So let's say you have your own world, but you want to link it to somebody else's world, and they want to link it back to yours. Those two different chunks, the worlds where you want them to connect, you could just natively have those linked to each other, and the world would just seamlessly connect in almost like an open world sort of fashion. Of course, it's not going to be that simple in practice, but that's the idea that I'm kind of striving towards.
Right. So the way you're thinking it is different to Unity and Unreal, which is to create its own experiences. Your game engine is going to be to create experiences that are going to be shared between all the other experiences that people are going to be able to make, right?
Yep. The idea
Yeah.
is that everything is connected, or can be connected if people want to. That's an important part. Is I don't want to force the connectivity on anybody. It's just if they want to add it in, it's there, and it's easy.
Uh, I definitely think that there is still the right experience or the right way to frame the metaverse, because right now it even has a bad connotation, some people are
Right.
even trying to avoid the word of it, even though in its concept it's a really nice concept, right? That you talk about this in a
Right.
video, that you want people to be connected and you want people to be able to create stuff and to be able to share some unique components from one place to the other, like your avatar. But there's still like a lot to do, right? I feel like we're in the very
Oh yeah.
first version that everybody's hating. So I don't know. I don't really know what could be like the next. I mean, definitely other companies that are thinking on like next steps for doing something like this. But for example, in your roadmap, if you can talk about this publicly, what could be like the most important next milestones for you and your game engine?
So the way that I'm trying to build the engine, right? And you said you've looked at the roadmap I have, and the way that I kind of want to do it is to progressively make more advanced demos with it. So what I'm working towards right now is what I'm calling the Pong demo. So basically, it would just be a multiplayer version of Pong. So uh, two people would be able to download the a client executable,
Hmm.
um, rather than having to build it themselves. But they'd both be able to download it, connect to a server that I'm publicly hosting, and then it would stream in the game, and they'd just be able to play Pong. So something really simple. Not a lot of. It's basically getting uh, uh, an example of something working, and then from there we would
Right.
find something like slightly more advanced, like maybe uh, a low quality Smash Brothers ripoff or something like that, where it's just super simple, but a bunch of
Yeah.
features we would need to add to the thing, and they just kind of go from there. And then
Yeah.
eventually, I would like to be able to build like an entire game studio around making stuff with the
Nice.
engine. So um, while the engine is kind of like a thing that I'm trying to like throw out there so other people can use, it's also something that I want to be able to like build a company around and build myself, or
Hmm.
build stuff with myself.
Yeah.
So
Isn't
yeah,
it
basically.
crazy? Isn't it crazy how you say like your demo it's gonna be a Pong, and for people it's gonna be like, oh, it's just a dumb Pong game, but all the components that you need to build for doing this Pong game. It's
Oh yeah, oh
definitely
yeah.
probably months of work to make just a simple Pong, but it's not a simple Pong, right? It has a lot of multiplayer networking components that are, as you said, being download, but maybe some streaming of the content. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's
it's gotten me it's taken me over a year to get to the point where I am, and I'm expecting
right,
it to take me like super optimistic. What I'm trying to push myself towards is getting it out within like a month, month and a half. It's probably would be more realistic to give myself like 2 or 3 months.
right.
Um, but the shorter you set the deadline for yourself, the faster you work. So,
Yeah, yeah, you're doing a lot of stuff, man. I found you on your Discord, the Discord of your project, and also you have a YouTube channel where you are talking about the metaverse and about VR and giving some updates about the project. Because I feel like you're trying also to build some community, right, around your project, so they could
oh yeah,
also support the project and test it. It's a lot of work, right?
the whole thing doesn't work without a community.
Right.
Um, I kind of one of my major priorities kind of is the community of the engine because it something where you can connect a bunch of people together doesn't work if you don't have a bunch of people to connect together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I worked in a multiplayer app for a customer, I don't know, like 7 years ago, and he wanted to build a lot of for like hundreds of people, but he didn't invest nothing at all in marketing. He thought that everything was just build more features and more features, but nobody knew, the app. So
Right.
it is crazy. People think that it's just matter of throwing lines of code and then you're rich. But like marketing and advertising and building a community, it's huge. It's very
Oh
very
yeah,
important too
it's
for any
it's
project.
almost more important than whatever you
Right.
build.
Yeah.
Like how many times have we seen like a metaverse project take off just because they have a ton of hype, but then they don't actually
Yeah.
have any product to speak of whatsoever.
Yeah, and you have these like tech influencers that maybe they don't have any projects, they don't have anything at all, but they have hundreds of thousands of followers in Twitter. So
Yep.
anything they launch, if it could be a drawing of something stupid, has an NFT, and they just get rich. Isn't it crazy?
It confuses me every day, but
Yeah. Are you a computer student? Computer science student?
I am. Right now, I am a software engineering major, though I haven't really been doing much actual schoolwork recently. I've been taking a little bit of a break as I kind
Right.
of. What I really want to be doing is working on the engine and working towards
Yeah.
starting a company with that.
Hmm,
Um,
hmm.
Honestly, I didn't feel like I was getting much out of school, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be continuing to do it.
Man, from I don't know. I don't have all the experience in the world from all the people and all the things that people have done. But when I was in college, I studied computer science, and I start getting these customers from around the world, and I built my own company, and I felt like, should I just keep going back to school to talk with all these old dudes that probably they don't even know what they're talking about, and I'm creating all this new really cool tech and making new stuff. And maybe I actually, there's a cool story about I needed for one of my projects when I was in studying. I had a customer from a different country, right, from a freelance project, but I needed a
Right?
software engineer and I couldn't find it. So I thought like, I'm just gonna tell a teacher of mine that I'm gonna hire him, but I'm not gonna tell him that it's me. So I reached out to my
Hmm.
teacher with an external email account, not saying that it was me, and I actually employed him for a couple months without knowing
Really?
that I was, his student. Yeah, and I paid him and everything. But that kind of things, like you, right? I was building a lot of things. I thought that I was creating, and that I don't really need the title. It is just a piece of paper.
Right.
And now I'm a professional software engineer. I build products. I have worked in big tech. I worked for 4 years at Bose, and now I work at Meta. But uh, I think I have something that it doesn't really require the title. It's just the skill set and the wanting to do stuff.
Right.
For example, I did martial arts, and when I was gonna be moving from red belt to black belt, my sensei told me, this is just a piece of leather. It's just a color. This is red and this is black. What actually matters is what you know, right? What you have in your head. You know how to defend yourself. You know how to fight, and you're gonna keep fighting. And I think it's very similar with title, especially in computer science. If you know how to build, and man, to be doing the project you're building, you need way more skills than a regular bachelor of computer science. I know for sure that you have had to learn a lot of stuff on your own that nobody teach you before, right? Just to keep
Right.
building on your idea. And you have this company build that you want to build, and these investors that you want to start to reach out for your project. It's a lot to learn. It's a really big challenge, but I think that's a good way to live your life, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm like, well, if I go full send on it and it doesn't work out, well, then I have a ton of skills and
Yeah.
real life experience that I feel like would be very valuable to an employer.
It is, yes. I'm sure that you're going to be able to demonstrate to any company that you can build stuff, that you can not only create a small game, but you can also put a plan together, like you're doing with your company, a milestone plan about, all right, this is what I'm going to do and why I'm going to do it and the steps I'm going to take. And maybe you even have some background with marketing also to build a community, right? And that's not something that you learn in computer science courses, um, which is great. How has it been for you to build a community around your project?
So it's a little weird because my community hasn't been like a sudden skyrocket sort of thing. It's been
Right.
a slow, gradual build for let's see, right off the top of my head, like 6 or so years now. Because it really started. So all like my programming journey like really started when I was like 13 or 14, and that's when I started my
Nice.
first website. That's where like my name comes from and everything. That's when I started all my
All right.
social media stuff. But I had a website where I just wrote like coding tutorials and stuff on it, and it's just been I've had that in the background, kind of
Hmm.
just this entire time, and that's where I got like the first few hundred people in my Discord and all of that sort of stuff. Um, and then stuff has really started taking off just in the last couple of months when I've really kind of made the mental decision of um, kind of because I was on the fence for a while, like should I stay in school or should I pursue my dreams,
Right.
uh, go full try to start a company and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and when I kind of mentally made the decision that this is really what I want to do, that's when it really started taking off because I started posting more, got a
Nice.
lot more consistent with the updates, and now with my YouTube channel, I'm trying to get it to I think one video every 2 weeks. So I'm gonna
Nice.
try to really hold myself to that, and I feel like that is really when it's actually going to start taking off is when I have that consistency
Right.
of there's actual stuff to watch about it instead of me just kind of talking about it vaguely in shorts or whatever.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna recommend people to go to your YouTube channel, WireWhiz, right?
Yep.
And check out the updates you're putting there. I think they are super cool, and you seem very excited with each update, even though people might not get it because it could be very highly technical at the beginning, but it's nice to see how it's progressing, and some of the opposite, you say like, this is not Wizard of Oz, this is not fake, this is actually working.
Yeah, and
I like to
it's
see it.
all of it's open source. So if people actually, if they want to call
Nice.
me out on it, they can go look at the source code. It's all there. Uh, I try really hard not to oversell what I'm doing. Like, yes, I have like grand plans for the future and everything, and trying
Yeah.
to make basically an MMO engine for VR. Uh,
Right.
that is also streaming stuff in. Like, it's a huge thing that like seems almost impossible. Um, but like
Yeah.
then in my actual updates, I try really hard not to oversell what I currently have because I don't want anybody to follow me thinking that I am. I really don't want to. I guess it's not technically scamming people if I'm not asking for money or
Right.
anything,
Yeah.
but I don't want to give people those unrealistic expectations. And I feel like that really goes back to so have you ever heard of did you ever follow the Decagear headset or the company making that?
Which headset?
Decagear.
No, no, no.
It was like a niche sort of headset startup. Um like they're really like more I guess visible, like known about like a year or so ago. But like in the super VR enthusiast space, they had kind of picked up a little bit of traction, and they actually hired me to work for them to do Unity demos. But the
Nice.
problem was they were really overselling what they currently had with their headset. Like they were
Okay.
accepting uh let's see. They were accepting it wasn't pre-orders, it was like $10 like reservation of pre-orders. And they got everybody like super hyped about it because like they had like a ton of marketing and it's like this is going to be the coolest headset ever. But they didn't even have like a working full prototype of it yet. Uh,
Mm,
and when people found that out, it really backfired on them. And that's
right.
something that I do not want to happen with this. Always be fully upfront. This is exactly what I have. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like for my experience, the companies, at least a little bit, they need to oversell, because they need to also please the investors. They need to tell them, we're gonna be doing something really nice, and this is gonna be ready soon, and we're gonna be having the best machine learning for this, whatever. I think that helps a little bit to just hype the people and have them expecting on what we're gonna do. I don't know,
Right.
but that's a good story about that headset. What do you think about the Pico 4?
So looking at the Pico 4, it looks like a really good headset. I haven't had a chance to try it out because, well, I am in the US and they're not really sending it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
here yet. And I don't really have a justification to go out and try to get one. But from what I've seen and what I've heard from the people I know, it seems like a very good headset.
I think that it's a good headset on hardware, but I feel like the software, it's a total ripoff of the Oculus,
I have heard
software.
of that. I have heard that. Um, because yeah, I was talking to someone who has used it, and they were like, it hardware wise, it is better than the Quest, but software
Yeah.
wise, it's like it holds the headset together, like it works, but it's the bare
Okay.
minimum.
Right, right, yeah. And I mean, at Meta, they are working in all this hand tracking and a lot of pass through, a lot of XR too. And seeing, the Pico 4 that has this crappy software and it's just copying all of the features. And it's going to be hard to just keep up the copying of the features, and never actually um, innovating in something or creating something new. It's gonna be hard for them to be a competitor like that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes in the next
Yeah.
couple of years.
It seems
Yeah.
like, at least from what I'm seeing, like there is a decent market of people who they will buy a
Mm.
headset for the sole purpose that, or for the sole reason that it's not Meta selling it. There is a
Yeah.
decently large group of people who
Right.
do
Right.
that. And I feel like that. the Pico will very much appeal to those people. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, for just the average user that wants something that works, they probably will still go for a Quest.
Yeah. What do you think of the Meta Quest Pro? Any thoughts? I mean, I
Um,
work just so you know, you can say anything. This podcast, this show is not Meta. It doesn't belong to
right.
Meta. This is my own opinions and my guests' opinions. This is just a side personal project I have. This is not related with my Meta
So yeah,
work at
yeah.
all.
I personally I don't have the highest opinion of Meta as a company. However, I do really respect their hardware, and I think a lot of it is really good. Like the Quest, great headset, great software, and
Hmm.
it all works really well. And from what I've seen of the Meta Quest Pro, while I mean, and they don't market it as a consumer device, it doesn't seem to
Yeah.
be a good consumer device. However, uh, it serves the role that it is supposed to, and the role that I think it's supposed to, or that uh, from what I've been able to pick up, the role it's supposed to serve is as a very high end dev kit of sorts. So, you know, get all the developers interested, get all of the power users interested, and start making mixed reality software. And I think for that, it is a good headset. For somebody who just wants to play games, probably not as good of an investment.
I want to know more about your thoughts about Meta. Just it's fine. You can say what you want to say or what you don't want to say. You don't have to. I understand that there is some concerns of people like this is as you said in the video, right? Like this is a very good idea. The metaverse has all these components, like a more open web where people can be there and feel there, but now this big company comes and try to take the concept of it, right?
Right.
Uh,
So,
yeah.
were you? Did you have much more to say?
Oh no
Don't
no
want to
no.
cut you
Yeah,
off.
I want to know like your thoughts
Okay,
on that.
okay.
Because
So,
it could feel like that. But yeah, I want to know what do you feel about it.
well, so my thoughts on the metaverse. Let me figure out where to start.
Okay,
So
that's
from
why.
from my point of view, like the metaverse and like the uh, so from my point of view, the metaverse is just immersive internet. That's if you really
Hmm.
boil it down, it's the internet but in VR. And I feel like it for like a true metaverse to truly take off, it needs to be really driven by the creators in that space and the people who are super passionate about it. And I feel like if well, corporations uh, the motivation of a corporation is to make revenue for their shareholders. That is legally what they're obligated to do. You know, it's nothing personal. It's not evil. It's just what they do. So
Yeah.
when a large tech company wants to enter the metaverse, their idea isn't how do we make the coolest thing we possibly can, or the how do we make the experience as good as possible for our users. While that may be side goals, their main goal is how do we keep ourselves afloat and generate profit for our shareholders, and then everything else is a supplementary goal to that. And
Hmm.
if you've explored like VR chat and Neos and all of these other platforms, you realize that the coolest experiences come from people who that they do not care about money. They're just doing it because it's their passion and it's what they really want to do. And that's the sort of person I am, and that's the sort of person I want to attract with my engine. Um, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why stuff like Horizon and other meta platforms aren't taking off. It's because those really creative people who all they want to do is build the best software they can. They they don't have a high opinion of meta software because it feels very closed down. It's meant to appeal to shareholders, nothing too scary can happen in them. It needs to be the the word I would use is they feel sterilized. Um
Mm.
and
An example of this for you could be like the interactions with these avatars. Like this is my sunglasses right here is the craziest thing you can have with the meta avatars, for example. And in
right.
VR chat, you could be a building, you could be a pig, you could be an ant, right?
I Speaking of that, I have literally seen avatars that are the entirety of the life-size Titanic or a a humongous like I've seen avatars bigger than this city out here, just that are in entire cityscapes.
Right.
And it's the coolest thing. But you will probably it's not likely that you'll see that in Horizons anytime soon.
Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. Right.
So where
Yeah,
was I?
because maybe that's the nature of VR chat, right? It's like super open, like just like anything.
Yep,
But having, for example, just to give this very specific examples like SAO or Ready Player One, you cannot do that in any of this to kind of sci-fi productions.
right.
You
And
cannot be a mountain.
jumping on that, that actually ties into one of the things. Oh, oh, did I lag out there for a
You're
second?
back. Yeah, just a
Okay.
little bit.
That ties into one of the things I want to do with my engine, where I do kind of want to attract the same people who like they're doing the super cool things in VR chat, right? But I also want to attract people who want to make like fully fledged games, like fully functional games. Like if you want to build SAO in my engine, that is something that I want you to be able to do. Um, and with that in mind, I want to create a system where world creators they have full control over the world they create. If they want to allow people to have custom avatars, they can. If they want people to be able to like import their own homes into the world or whatever, like their own custom assets, they can. But if they want to have a game with competitive integrity, where you can't just import a nuke from a different game, or different armors and stuff, and they just want to have assets that are only from their game, that is something that they would be able to set up and do as well. So it's a um, all the power to the world creator sort of idea. And um, I kind of came to this conclusion after looking at okay, what sets apart VR chat and another platform, Neos. It's less known about,
Hmm.
but with Neos, their thing is it's all the power uh, to the player. So they have like this whole node scripting system. Players in Neos can do whatever they want. Like there are some crazy avatars in Neos and crazy worlds, just because the players they can build whatever they want and then bring that into any world. But you couldn't create a competitive shooter in that environment because you can have uh, you could bring in a nuke basically.
Right, right.
um, but in something like VR chat, there it's uh, it's not even all the power to the world creator because it all they have been getting better about adding features, but
Hmm.
it is VR chat's platform,
Yeah.
and you have to build like a VR chat world sort of thing. So it's very locked down in terms of it's not even really locked down. It's just sort of um, it's not as feature rich as you would want it to be, or at least that I would want it to be. However, there are definitely VR chat creators that would argue with me on that, and I have been to some incredible VR chat worlds. But even so, what I want to provide to people is the full game engine experience, but uh, with the networking for a platform behind it.
Right. Have you tried the Sword Art Online kind of world in VR chat? It's very
I
popular right now.
haven't. I've wanted to, but I haven't gotten around to it. I have seen a lot on it though, and it looks really
Yeah,
cool.
it looks very fun. Yeah, have you tried
Yeah.
Zenith?
I have tried Zenith. I think I bought it on launch and played it on launch
Oh,
day
nice.
for like something like 6 or 7 hours straight. It
Yeah,
was pretty fun, though the
yeah,
networking
it is.
seemed a little bit controls feel a little bit floaty to me. That was
Right.
my biggest gripe was that combat felt very floaty and like enemies would be kind of teleporting around a little bit.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I like
it was a little
MMOs.
jank. Mhm.
Yeah, I like MMOs, and I think it was a very good experience to feel a VR MMO. I think Zenith
Oh
is the
yeah,
only one so far. Maybe there's another one,
it's
but
it's the biggest one that's actually gotten attention. There have been other attempts, and there are
okay.
like other ones that are still surviving. I can't remember any of their names off the top of my head, but I do know they're excuse me. I do know that they're out there. It's just
Yeah, one of the thing is that I've played MMO for like I don't know since I was like 12 years old or 10, I don't know. But like in most of the MMOs, especially Korean MMOs, you have these like super animated attacks that you just press one button and you have like all these chain attacks, like things coming
right.
from the sky, flames. It's crazy.
Just
But with a VR
total
MMO,
anime
it's
main
just
character.
you. Yeah, in the VR MMO, it's just like just this. This is your power. You just sliding
Yep.
something like this. It's funny. It's funny. It feels funny. Maybe that's why going back to like Horizon Worlds and VR chat. Every time I go to Horizon, I go there often. I'm not super young, so I feel like when I go to Horizon Worlds, most of the people I meet there are like older than 25 years old, or like just older than 25 or 30 plus, and it kind of makes sense because it's more social. People go there to talk and just to kind of socialize. But when I go to VR chat, it's mostly kids and it's mostly very young people for
Right.
just for
So
what I've seen.
that's kind of like the what's the word I'm looking for? VR chat it kind of tricks you in a sense because
Okay.
um they like if you go to public lobbies, like any VR chat veteran will tell you don't go to public lobbies.
Okay.
Um so with VR chat, what you really want to do is find somebody who already is good at VR chat or has played
All
it a
right.
lot, and get them to give you a tour because they're going to know like all of the best worlds, all of like um,
Okay.
the all the they're in the know, um,
All right.
and
That maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe an adult get a headset and then they go to VR chat, they go to a public lobby, just kids there, Homer Simpson and Knuckles just yelling
right,
around, and
yeah,
then they go
racial
to
slurs
Horizon
going
World.
left and right.
Yeah, yeah, and then they go to Horizon Worlds, and there's more adults. But definitely, I've heard even news that people in VR chat they are getting these opto tracks, and they are doing like erotic dances and getting paid
That
because of
definitely
that.
is a
Like
part of the
prostitution,
that there
something
is
like
that
that.
underculture there. That definitely
I
exists,
love
but
to
you're
go to
not.
something like that just to try
Well,
it. Yeah,
I'm not the one to ask because uh, I don't do that. But uh, I mean, I could give you references to some people I
All right, thank you. Yeah, give me the dealer.
yeah,
But just to experience it. I mean, it's not like that's my thing. But I want to see
right,
like how people are interacting in these VR environments and what they do. Wait, I just got super laggy. All right, yeah. So I want to go to this environment to see what they do there and what kind of people it's in there because in
right,
VR you have a lot of different people coming here for different reasons. It could be because they are very lonely, or maybe because they have this sense of they want to go to a strip club, but they
right.
see it in VR. Or I don't know, but for me,
Mhm.
it's nice to. It's like a research kind of experience. It's
Right.
cool.
And if you are going to be trying out VR chat more, one thing that I would definitely suggest trying out if you don't want to end up in a lobby with a bunch of kids and want to see more of
Yeah.
like the more experienced user base and meet those people, um, oh is that VR chat actually has well, I guess it's not really an underground, but they have like a rave scene. So like people going and there's like live DJs,
Nice.
and they're really good DJs.
Yeah.
But just kind of looking around, I right off the top of my head, there's Shelter, Loner, the Tube is another good one, but those are like. And there's also Schism. If you know Thrill Seeker, the YouTuber, that's the one he runs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you just join their Discord, and then there's actually like there's a it's an invite bot, and you friend that invite bot, and that's how you get into like the private instance of the
Oh,
club.
nice.
Um, so it's kind of like a you need to know how to get into it. There are some people who've made videos on how to get into it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a very cool experience.
Right, but what I don't like is it's like, I mean, I guess it's very private and exclusive, but it is hard to get there. If there is someone making a tutorial for how to get there, it's hard, and it shouldn't be like that. But I guess that is a exclusivity also, right? Like
I
the
guess
metaverse
it
doesn't
wasn't
have to
as
be
much
like
a
easy.
it wasn't as much a tutorial as just a hey guys, this exists and this is how to get into it
Okay,
sort of thing.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Right. Well, yeah, I'll check it out. I want to try more VR chat. There is a lot of looks like it's very open. You can create also like apps in Unity and export it to VR chat or something like that. I have friends who in the first episode, I have a friend who's has his a company that is called Peppercast, and he's creating like a portal for having parties between VR and real life. So in real
Oh,
life, they put like a screen that is projecting, is streaming the VR party at the same time, and they are playing the same
that's
music.
interesting because I have gone to a few VR clubs where occasionally they'll have an event where it is a club. It is an
Yeah,
IRL club that also has like a VR club counterpart, and they will have that. They'll have like a portal
right,
between the two things. So I wonder
right, right,
if
and
he's the guy
yeah,
who's helping them out with that.
maybe, yeah, maybe, and the VR people can see the real life people. You know, there's a screen and they can see a camera that is looking at the real party. That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess that's the. I mean, as we were talking, right? Like the metaverse is a lot of stuff. It's not only VR; it's also like the AR you see through your phone, and maybe someone left something in a table that is virtual, and you can grab it and maybe put it into your VR. I mean, it is so big, right? And I feel like we haven't nailed the right experiences yet, and that's why people are hating so much on the idea of it. Even though people spend hours and hours on Instagram and WhatsApp and TikTok, they spend hours on digital worlds, but it's like they don't realize it's a digital world or something. Maybe
It's
that's the
also a little
problem.
bit of it takes a lot of effort to, you put on a headset and then usually when you're using a headset, like I personally prefer standing to sitting in a chair.
Hmm.
When I'm out and about in the metaverse or however you want to put it. Um, but let's see, lost my train of thought, but oh yeah, right. It takes a lot of effort to actually get to the point where you're in the environment and interacting with other people, and even to a further extent, like when you're interacting with people in VR, it's a very real experience, and I mean, some people are extroverted, and they get energy from talking to people, and other people they would prefer not to interact with people when possible. I'm a little bit in between. Like if I'm having a conversation with somebody
Okay.
about something that I'm really passionate about, I could do that
Right. Right.
forever. Other times not so much. And there's that
Yeah. Yeah.
aspect where talking to somebody over a text chat is a lot less. Uh, it's a lot less involved than I am in the
Yeah.
room with someone else.
That's true. That's true. It's asynchronous, right? You can just leave them hanging and respond later when you feel like it. That's true.
Yep.
That's true. Hmm. Yeah. Hey, did you saw this? I mean, definitely, if you're like into SAO, did you saw the founder publish a headset that can kill you?
I I think I saw it within 15 minutes of when he posted the tweet.
All right.
Because like before he posted it, it's like, hey, he let out a different tweet, which was like, hey, if you like SAO, ke-
Yeah,
uh,
I saw that.
yeah, keep watch for later today, and then he, uh, that, yeah.
I wonder if it was just a joke or if he actually implemented just something, because it's
Oh,
not
I
hard to
don't doubt
implement
that
something that kills you.
I don't doubt that the headset itself is real. I highly doubt anybody's actually used it though.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Maybe, but he can create a mechanism that can kill you. You know, it's just a. I mean, he if he's the founder of Oculus, maybe he can definitely make another feature that just electrocutes you or something.
Oh yeah, and he also owns a defense contractor.
Okay.
So he would have the means to get explosives. It's kind of funny in the article. He says usually
Explosive.
I'd be using the
Okay.
it it, it the he, sorry, I'm losing my ability to speak. But in the article, he says that something along the lines of usually I'd be using these for something else, but I can use them for this project.
Mm.
So the he literally already had the explosives lying around.
I guess that you could have an API that it can kill you in different ways, right? It could be electrocution, it could be explosive, it could be a knife. You know, he put some like some horns in the headset. It could be a
Yeah.
knife that it just goes through your head. I don't know.
I mean, how much more immersive do you need getting killed to be?
Getting killed. Yeah.
I mean,
Once you're dead,
it's
you're
not
like,
like I can.
"Huh, this was not immersive enough," and you're just
I'm
dead.
gonna. Man, dying wasn't immersive enough. I'm gonna go leave a
Yeah.
bad review.
I'll
Death
I'll
not
try it again.
immersive enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two
It's
out of three
funny.
stars would not die again.
Would not die. Didn't die correctly.
Yep.
Hey, yeah, it was nice to see like all this hype. I mean, it was not hype, but it was like this nostalgia about SA movie. And there's a new movie coming up, right? And it was nice to because they put that date in the manga,
Hmm.
and it was nice to see it back, right?
Yeah.
It was definitely one of the reasons that actually also pushed me to pursue this kind of interests, right? Which is great.
Yeah.
Um,
I think for me, it was what really got me into VR was I was a fan of like the Ready Player One series, and then
okay.
I also had a different book series called I think the name of the entire series was The Mortality Doctrine.
Mm,
But it had its own version of Full Dive. It's by the same guy who wrote The Maze Runner. Um, and I think
nice.
those were my two biggest inspirations. And then, of course, I've also watched SAO. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Log Horizon is pretty good too. But yeah,
Okay.
all the different,
Have you ever watched
all the.
Dot Hack?
I don't think I have.
Man, that's a classic about MMOs and VR. It is. It's very very good. It is about so they have different kind of parallel stories, right? And one of the stories is about that they have these kids playing. It's more a more mature shonen, kind of like
Hmm.
Death Note. You know, it's not like a shonen that they are like just fighting all the time, like SAO, but it's a little bit more mature.
Right.
And like the thing is that one of the players died in real life, and the consciousness of that player was still in the game playing. So that was one of
Okay.
the uh kind of stories about the anime. And they have more. They have another ones with there's a guy who found an article, an object that was like able to corrupt some data, and it was nice because it was like a hack kind of object. It is a really nice show. You should take a look.
Okay. Is
Very
it
recommended.
dot hack in
Yeah, dot
like the
hack.
the period dot hack, or is it like
Yeah,
the word dot and then
it's the
hack?
period
Okay.
period hack. It's a bit
All
old,
right.
but it was very good. Yeah,
Oh,
and
the older
I
animes
mean,
are always the better ones.
yeah, right. Yeah. Have you ever watched Gantz?
I don't know that I have. In terms of anime watching, I only got into it semi recently, like 2 or so years
Really?
ago. So I'm really I'm catching up on all of the my anime watching.
Right. Well, Gantz, it's very special to me because it is about some guys that when they die in real life, they get transported to some like real life again. They're just transported to another place where they have to play some missions and kill
Huh.
some extraterrestrial beings. And when they kill it, they go back to real life. Uh,
So it's almost like it's like the Gulag, but with aliens.
yeah, kind of. Yeah. And it's funny because some weird things happen. There's a girl who commits suicide, and then she gets moved into this area, but turns out the real body was revived, and she was alive in the real life
Huh.
and also in the replica. So this girl in the replica, she wins the mission and she goes back to real life, and now there's two of her. It is very funny, but it's a very nice manga with the really cool animations in the anime.
Sounds
Uh,
interesting. I might need to
Nice
check
to
that
check
out.
out too. Yeah, but yeah, so to close the episode, I'd like for you to invite people to your community and your project, and it was very nice to have you here, Wire. And so you should definitely check out Wire's project. I'm gonna be leaving his links around here. You want to talk a little bit more about it?
Um, I I don't really have like a pitch off the top of my head. All of my pitches are
Okay,
kind of very wordy, so I'll kind of
that's
leave it
fine.
at if you want to learn more, my Discord is open, and I will probably respond pretty quickly.
Thank you, man. Thank you for responding me and for coming to the show. It was a very nice chat. And thank you for coming to this episode of Solar Punk City with WireWhiz. You can find him
Yep.
also in YouTube. He's uploading really cool content about his project and about his thoughts on the metaverse and the meta everything and Web3, right? And so it's pretty cool to see you there too. I'm gonna be leaving your social medias around here. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you very
Cool.
much. All right. See you in the next episode of Solar Punk City. Bye.